KCAA.
Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio.
Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have special guest, Silvi Sebastian. Silvi is a writer, producer, storyteller, curator, screenwriter, actress, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and chairwoman and CEO of E8ERNITY28 LLC. She has over 20 years experience in the entertainment industry. Silvi has been on a quest to provide quality entertainment to audiences here and around the world. Her dream has been to create a motion picture which brings to the forefront the incredible history and compelling truth behind the Armenian genocide of 1915. To this end, she has skillfully crafted the very personal story of her family's struggle during this terrifying Holocaust. All right, wow. Well, welcome to the show, Silvi.
Thank you, Sheila, for having me. I'm grateful.
And I like to start off, this show actually came about with my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. I wrote it before we had our worldwide universal pause / pandemic, and it is right on point for our times and obviously for many times in history as well. So I'd love for you to share about a time in your business or personal life where you had to overcome obstacles and difficult situations and how you got back on track.
Indeed, thank you. Yes, there were a lot of hardships, a lot of dark moments in life, as we all do. We all have to go through that dark tunnel to get to the light. And it happens with accidents, it happens with marriages, it happens with businesses when things don't really, pan through the way we intend. And many times people don't turn out to be with the same mindset and heart as we are. That actually throws us off to a loop. And a lot of times, a lot of things take place, but it takes time. And it takes growth, it takes an understanding, it takes questioning. And first and foremost, what's important is when we believe, know, and understand that to have a bountiful faith, a strong, bountiful one, will truly pull you through. And as well, surrounding yourselves with elders, because I grew up with a lot of elders, and they paved my way. And all the questions that I had, indeed, I continuously ask questions. Until now, I ask questions, sometimes many questions, but unless you get the answers, you can't move forward. And it has to be simple and clear and real and straightforward so that we could be able to, keep our destined path focused and keep the horizon lit. So this is where we are. And if you want me to get more specific in some of the darknesses that I have faced, yes, a horrible accident that left me, dead in the middle of the street. That was quite dark moments in my life. And then there was a very, very dark marriage that I was in. That was another one. And then with some partnerships that wanted to come on to our project, they were extremely dark. That didn't work out. So we stand true in what we believe in and everything that we brought together, which took us years to be where we are. And it is solid, it is profound, it is USPTO'd, patented, Library of Congress patented, and also with Writers Guild. So we are very legitimate with an entertainment attorney, and we're right on track with simple industry standard documentations. And we are truly looking for, professionals within the industry. So just keeping the focus, keeping the light, keeping the faith, and asking as many questions. And I believe, know, and understand that if you really want to get through, you need to really address the professionals in each and every industry and the department of life that we want to succeed and move forward.
Yes.
That helps quite a bit.
Yes. Well, I love the fact that you had these incredible elders in your life that were your guiding force. I too had that growing up. This little girl, my grandmother was raising me when I was about 5, and she had all these friends that were, I guess, in their 80s back then, and they would all get together and have tea, and I was to be seen and not heard, but I listened.
Yes.
And heard their incredible stories, coming from all different places on the planet to LA, California, and these stoic, incredible businesswomen never lost their feminine, but they had some stories to tell. One was in a concentration camp and lost all her family. Another one, her husband passed away and they didn't want her to take over the business, and then she expanded to 5 beautiful Greek restaurants. And, so these stories were just incredible. And I knew, okay, we all are going to have a grand adventure here on this planet. And how can we make the best of it? Because they made it, so I'm going to make it too. Made all the difference for me in my life.
Indeed, I can completely comprehend.
Yeah.
How interesting. And then plus teachers also in school, that, they are our stepping stones. I don't think we could have done anything without not having teachers.
Yeah.
And they're also my stars. They're my golden stars.
Yes, definitely. And I'd love to hear more about your film and this history that you've experienced with your relatives. I think it is a lot of people aren't aware of the Armenian genocide. I'm quite aware of it, but a lot of people haven't even heard about it in the history books. It's not covered much. So I think everything shows up in perfect time, and now the light is shining on so many situations, and the truth is going to help heal the past to some extent, but also prevent such things from ever happening again. So I'd love to hear more about that.
Thank you, Sheila. Well, it's right on time because it's a humanitarian awareness, and it's in frame, in time, in place, and in decade. And it's in century because it is unique and it is ancient. Not just our history alone, all the histories in the world. Because it does start with slavery. It does start with Holocaust. It does start with genocide. It does start with World War I, World War II. And if we go back into history, you're going to see that all and everything that we speak of to present day today, it's the same, many of these things that are being repeated. And if we cannot go back, we cannot resolve what was and enlighten upon those stepping stones, we don't know where we are today. And we don't know where we're going tomorrow as far as the future is. And we need to resolve, we need to come to terms and truly understanding about each other and not stepping all over each other, but giving hands in hands together to know that this is who we are as humanity. And you know what? I will listen to your story. You will listen to my story. And when we come together, you'll see we have so much in common, except it's the decade and time and the century that only changes. But because there's so many wounds that have not been patched, worked on, resolved, unfortunately, it just continues. One learns from another. One atrocious acts to another, and they continuously keep on doing it. And humanity keeps on hurting and going through so many traumas and violence, conflict. It just continues. And so moving forward, what's so unique about this particular project that we're producing, it's conceived of an epic World War I historical. It's a drama that's set against the backdrop of the Armenian genocide. And it is an important, unique story of hope and human triumph. And it goes through against all odds. And everywhere he goes, everything that takes place, there is a stop, there is a wall. And somehow, with his deep faith, with his true psychology of being, true and simple and clear, he was able to get through. And one such amazing, noble and courageous survivor was a simple church archdeacon. And he was a man of faith. And he was a man of family, but he truly had so many turmoils, ups and downs, when there was no hope in many ways. Doors of hope opened up, light opened up, where there were walls covering him, through prayer, through patience, through, endurance of pain and suffering. He found ways, and he took the chance. He took the chance, and he was brave enough to. And I'm saying, if they could do that years ago, right, what is our reason or excuse now in humanity that we cannot take those brave steps to move forward and resolve things and be able to save ourselves from all these atrocious acts taking place in the world? And it boils down to psychology. It boils down to faith. And whether it's going to be positive or negative, whether we're going to drown ourselves or we're going to save ourselves. And it is so important because it paves our voyage in life, the horizon ahead, which is destined, and it's the necessity for everyday life, for all life. So this is how I see it. It's an impeccable piece of script and real story. It starts with church and it ends in church. Values of human life and family and cultures and communities, and in between is where life takes place, the ups and downs.
Yes,
and so is our life, right?
Yes. Now, see, we have been so incredibly blessed to have peace overall, at least in our lifetimes. And I remember my grandmother, the one I mentioned that raised me for a short time. She lived through the Spanish flu. She lived through the Great Depression. She saw all these wars coming and going. She adopted my mother because my mother's father was killed in the war. And the young mother gave the baby to this relative, my grandmother, and this was how it happened. And so it was a different time, and she would share memories and stories that were living history for me. It made a big difference for me. But then I looked at the history books in school, and we weren't getting any of that emotion or any of the reality. And the thoughts were, well, that was back then. We're smarter now. We're better than that now. We have technology. We couldn't possibly have a pandemic or anything go bad or any more wars. And here we are, looking and living through all this historic time yet again. And so it is something, it's probably the most important thing, is to hear these incredible stories of the past to get through to a better future and through today. And I think our young children, like my kids, I have 3 that are mine that I birthed and 3 that I adopted. And so my 6 kids, oh my gosh, when they started school, they literally started kindergarten. The 2 youngest started their kindergarten and pre-K on 9/11. And it was such like, what is this different world? And then all the different school shootings and crazy things that have happened. We didn't have that in my time, like the way it was. And so our children, it's almost like we're being prepared for some of this crazy stuff happening now that we would have never in our time. My parents, they just let me go out, come home at night, no supervision, and the kids would ride their bikes and go to the store. We had nothing to fear, nobody to worry about. And it was just a different time. So it is interesting how this happens and comes around full circle again. Yes. And
indeed.
Yes, I'd love to hear a little bit more about the history for those that aren't aware of the history of what happened with the Armenian genocide. If you could share that.
Indeed. When you look at World War I, it states on Google, if you Google it, it would say July 28, 1914. That's the start, and it ends in November 11, 1918. And I know that our history started way long ago, back in the 1830s, is when they started doing what they were doing, very, very hush-hush, very, very quiet. And what they started to do, the Turks, which was at the time in Turkey, which is Cilicia, and it was at the time where our story takes place. It's the little sub territories in Turkey, Ours was the Taurian Mountains. Mount Karamkas is what they call it. And it was that big township that where our family was from. And there were many townships together, which was Armenia at the time. And we were surrounded by a lot of Islamic states. And if you look, I will also send you, moving forward later on, a web page where it explains, more profoundly about our history and how it's always been troubled for many, many centuries. But this particular township was the center where a lot of, trade came through. And it had been flourished by churches, communities, different cultures, combined with the Armenian cultures. And we were so prosperous because we were the ones that put them on the map. And because we had poets and people in government and in communities, and and we got along with everyone else within that, within the township, they started slowly and gradually making, killing us, and people started disappearing. And it happened way in the mid 1800s.
Wow.
Okay. And when the genocide really took place in 1915, it started slowly and gradually when, they started threatening us, and they started, announcing on microphones that your place is not here, you need to move out. They did a lot of atrocious acts where they burned people, they killed people, they put them in churches, they blockaded them in, raped children, killed people. They did so many different things. Of course, in our script, it's not going to be as there's not going to be anything graphical. However, it's going to come to places where you need to come to make a decision. What do you do? Do you stay? Do you go? How do I face this? How do I deal with this person? And knowing that I'm Christian, or knowing that I'm Armenian, or knowing that I'm of this culture, because there was all that taboo. You cannot be Christian. You cannot be this. You cannot be that. You have to be a certain, of faith, so that they won't harm you. But this is very much where we are in our history. And this is ongoing for many, many years. The particular township that I'm talking about is Marash. And Marash is one of the largest townships, which was right at the center. And everything had to go through Marash to get to the other smaller townships. It's very famous. It's very big. It's known. And unfortunately, today, it is a flat land. You cannot find anything. Everything has gone underground, right? And there's so many atrocious acts took place with children and elders and families. Whoever was lucky enough was able to get out, and whoever was not, unfortunately, they perished with all the atrocities and the conflicts that took place during 1915. But with our storyline, it starts at the very start, where I had to go back and I had to put all the dates in, because I had to go back and see how old my grandfather was, what year was he born, and then count 30 years into his life, and then start from there, you see. There's so much work just to find out. I knew what the story was, and plus I researched with other family members and friends of his, and I had to put all the dates, all the locations, and so forth and on. It was quite a long and challenging one for me. Very, very challenging. And ours starts from 1915 and it goes all the way to 1922. Where they start or when they end, and all the journey that they go through. And a lot of the journeys is just been going from one place to another place to another place, until they find a place of harmonious state of mind and heart. And first, I know that starts with you and your faith, and with the relationship with the Father that places you in that peace. Right? And that atmosphere, and so forth. He did. So this is where we are with our story. Unfortunately, I cannot give you too much because I want people to bring their awareness and their interest to the storyline, because it is a beautiful script, and not because it's our script. It's because it truly engages in all the departments of struggle, captivity, loss, gain, marriages, uncertainty, imprisonment. There's so much of it in there that it truly is a good roller coaster ride. And there's going to be a lot of psychological messages in there, peaceful messages in there, and that is so-called life. It's our life. It's all our lives. It's based on all of humanity and all the struggles of humanity. And this film, it resonates with so many. I'm going to tell you as a producer that it is a message that I want to give everybody. It's a legacy to be remembered, because no matter what ethnicity, no matter what religion or denomination or affiliation or culture you may belong to, you will be drawn to relate with our historical, memorable, captivating, and inspiring, adventurous, bountiful subject matter, which is part of the 20th century. And it is essential and beneficial because adopting a succinct clarity of an open mind, open heart, open soul, coming together in a unity of one at all times, it brings you to a discovery of a distinct frame and enriched decade, brimming with an essence of apostolic Orthodox Christian faith, because that was the most dominant one. And that was the only unique one at the time, because it was surrounded by a lot of Islamic states. And it's an ancient, dominant, and irreplaceable culture, our culture, the Armenians. This is my producer statement for everyone. And of course, when they are ready to read our script and bring themselves, they will see that it wasn't just about the Holocaust or the genocide or World War I or World War II, that we were all treated as indigenous, lower class by those who had a lot of strength and power. They thought they could step all over us and use us as slaves, right? Kill us, rape us, and do whatever it is that they do. And they do it nowadays too. It's just a lot of it is hush hush and covered up. But nowadays it's the age of technology. You cannot hide anymore. We can't see you, right?
They know more about me than I do.
Exactly. And you have to be careful what you put out there. Fortunately, you have to be careful what you put out there and who's going to get to it. Yeah,
I got fraud alerted because I brought my daughter and all her friends to get In-N-Out burgers because it was a party, like a birthday party. And I got fraud alerted because I don't go there. And they knew that I don't go to In-N-Out ever. And so not that I don't like it, but I'm always dieting. And, young kids can eat whatever they want, bless them. And so so they do. They know our patterns more than we do. I would like to have them tell me more about me because, we're always learning. So that is something, when I think about all humanity and I think about these terrible things and everything that's going on today as well. And I know that when you're born and you have your children, you have your family, nobody wants to harm anybody or have anything go wrong. Everybody really, what are they looking for? Love, peace, community, connection. They want good for their children, good schools, good times, to care for their relatives. That's what everybody really wants. And then you have governments or big, one evil that creates and controls a group or another group. And the next thing you know, you have this terrible stuff going on. And I remember hearing about these histories, living histories from people I knew. And I thought, how could they possibly let this happen? And it's because there was no control. So the people on every side, they were so scared for their own lives. They just go along with it because what can they do? Or they'll lose their life too. And I think that's the thing, is what can we do as a society to avoid these things, to correct things like these from happening ever again in our history. And that's coming together and letting the fear go. And it's really hard to stand up and have that faith, like the story you mentioned, this religious leader getting through all this, having the faith and guidance, some kind of guidance beyond us to get through when you keep hitting obstacles and all these terrible things happen. It just, that's what carries us through, no matter what your faith, practice, or religion is. It makes all the difference to have something, especially during these hard times. And now here we are living through some more historic times that are different, but still it's that getting back to family, what matters most, community, faith of some sort, getting in nature. Even the studies, all these scientific studies have found that, prayers, meditations are literally can change the water. They can change the area. Like if somebody religious comes to town, let's say the Dalai Lama, or there's some type of peace march, or there's some type of prayer gathering or meditation, less crime in the entire city or community for a whole week because of that. And there's all these studies on that. So it does make a difference. And grassroots efforts make a difference. Little things, even how you are in your home, makes a difference for the society at large.
Indeed. Agreeable. 100 plus 10%. Yes. Indeed. Indeed. And what's also important is that we as humanity have to take all our communities extremely serious, because we make sure that we listen to each other of all the things that are taking place, because what happens there happens here, what happens here happens there. So we are all family, we're all interconnected. How are we connected? By faith. How are we connected with business? How are we connected by friendships? How are we connected by communities, by societies, by groups of facilities of prayer, or the schools, or the groceries, or all areas of connection? And it all has to do with family. And we all see each other, we say hello, and we have a conversation. The next we know about this story, that story, this happened or that happened. And it is so important about the connection of listening, bringing each other to each other, connecting and resolving what is of the utmost of concern, and raising awareness. And when we don't do that, we're taking away from our own vision and what's truly happening in front of us. When we stop judging, assuming, or guessing, right? Which is so important, because when you start judging, assuming, and guessing, you're going to miss the message that's just right in front of us. It's right in front of us, but we don't and will not see it, because we have something else in our mind, or my mind is racing, or something I need to do. Oh, wait a minute, that's how I see it, and that's the only way I see it, and that's what I want to say, and I have to leave the rest out. You cannot do that. You will see it exactly the way it is in front of you, without judging, assuming, and guessing, and we are going to resolve it. We just have to be adamant and persistent, and really caring and loving, and coming to it peacefully, and running the services at best with psychologically for everyone's benefit, because it's essential. It's for us. Who else that runs this world? We do.
Yes.
Everything is given to us, and we cannot not be appreciative. We have to first and foremost appreciate the Father who's given us so much, and two, each other. And then three, it's our services. If everybody gets to do their services complete, the world will be a better place, right? And we know how much work it takes to keep everything in fruition and in completion. But then there's also those that as soon as you have things complete, they cannot come to invade and destroy. And we're going to avoid all that by preventing that from happening. There's that as well. And who doesn't? And I agree with you too, that everybody wants the best for their kids. I want the best for everyone, to be honest with you. I don't have a single bone in our system, as I've been told by others, of any destruction. I don't even have any weapons in my house.
Yeah.
The only thing I have is my kitchen knives to make food. But I don't have anything else. I don't believe in guns. I don't believe in ropes. I don't believe in torture. But people do. You see, we were born with it. And again, it goes down to the psychological choices. Remember what I said earlier? The psychological choices of positive or negative, right? And the behavior and the action and the outcome. We are going to be remembered by those. They can also apologize. They can run 10 pages of apology. It doesn't matter. People are going to remember you by your actions.
It's
No matter what.
so true. And one of the things, I raised my children with a deep study and love for all different cultures and all of humanity. I thought it was so important we understand our religion at home. And then we also studied other religions. We traveled the world at one point. We traveled all over and we got to know people and learn. And then living in California and Los Angeles, everybody's here, and so you get to know everyone. And it's just so important. And one of the most important things, I taught them to have discernment when you're going to class, when you're listening, when you're watching something, whatever you're doing, have your own mind about it. Run it through your own values, your family value filter and your value filter. Just because someone is a leader or in charge, if they start doing something that's really off, question these things, because this is how it all happened way back then. It was the leaders that people just blindly, they didn't even know how bad it was, and they followed. And this is the result of these terrible things that have happened. So it's having that discernment, love for all, but having that filter and putting it through your own faith values, and then knowing how to connect with other people, understanding where they're coming from with their religious beliefs, their culture, how that all connects us as a humanity, as one. It really makes a difference. And I'm so grateful. Of course, when my children became teens, they all questioned me. So I was like, wait, you're not supposed to question me. Just the other leaders. And it was like, no, we're questioning you too. So that's something that I think is so important. A lot of times people just do what they're told. And they did back then, and even today, where it may be that they need to run it through the filter.
Yes, indeed. It's good to ask the questions. It always saves you. I tell you, you may think that what's the reason they're asking this question, but you know what? They're asking because they want clarity, and then they have to, because it frees them.
Yes.
It truly does free them. And then I ask myself, why am I even thinking that way? Because I asked millions of questions. There were times my parents left me behind. They did not want me to go with them. Because I asked so many questions. And then in case if I wanted something, we were at the store, my mom used to squeeze my hand and she used to pinch me not to ask for anything and just focus and not to ask any questions. But look at me, I'm still that same Silvi. I know so much because I ask questions. I have to.
I remember getting in trouble in school because I asked questions, and the teacher said, "You asked too many questions." And I said, "What do you mean?" And asked him another question. And then he was just, "See?" And he said, "See, I give up." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Because that's how I got by. And it's one of those, as a kid growing up in and out of foster care, homeless for 3 years, 10 to 13, and all these interesting things that I went through, I had to ask questions to survive. And I was safe wherever I went because I was really cautious. And, I talked to my mother every day, but she wasn't able to care for me. And so it was an interesting situation. But it's something that I like questions. Questions are the answer.
Indeed.
Yes.
And I am very, very grateful that you gave us the opportunity today to have this discussion, especially with the signs of times and all the things that truly also as well that took place in Armenia just last year, the 44-day Artsakh war that we had, and so many children that had actually witnessed this merciless waged war by Azerbaijan, and it just broke us down. Here we go once again. Our land is being threatened. Our sanctions are being threatened. Our soldiers and so forth and on, and these scars, these unhealing emotional wounds that just continuously keep on, taking place throughout time, and often it's the future generations that are paying the price, especially when the trauma and the violence is not being dealt with. And come to amend, it is very, very difficult for us. And having this film made, which yet again history repeats itself, it is right on the mark, right on time, just to show you again how, as a Christian faith, as a Christian country, again, our land is yet being threatened and pushed back because they want to take over, because they're much more, the Islamic states that are surrounding us, they think they have the upper hand to do what they want. But it has come time in place, in frame, that we're pushing them back, that you cannot no longer do that to us. Here we have a rich history. Here we have our life. Here we have a purpose, just like you, where we're no longer going to have you do that to us. And we have to, find those of war crimes accountable. They have to be accountable of their atrocious acts. And we as communities and societies and the world must stand up, truly, and want to make sure that all this is going to be noted and remembered, and we should stand together and stop.
Right.
Enough is enough. But we need to do this by giving hand in hand, hold on to each other, and support them. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
In our messages.
Now, how long you've been working on this for a while? I think I remember you telling me about this at a Beverly Hills concert in the parks years ago. And so how long has this project been going on, and when is it going to be out, do you think?
Well, we have been working on this. It took me 8.5 years to put things together. And then another 2 years, it took me to put my business together with documentation, paperwork, USPTO, statement of notice, and so forth and on, and with the NDAs and the Library of Congress and the Writers Guild and so forth. It took me several years. And then we had a few other people that wanted to, rob us, lie to us, manipulate us. That's something else as well.
Yeah, it happens.
Unfortunately, when you have something really profound and complete, as I said, they just want to rip it apart and take it for something that don't even belong to them. Survival of the fittest, yet again. And it goes down in history once again. We can discuss for hours and hours. However, we have everything complete. We have revised and we have updated because a few things that set us back, we had to move forward. Right now, where we are is we are actually looking for serious producers with serious financial, backgrounds that could produce with us on this project. It's a big humanitarian one. It's about $30 million project. And we are actually now in the middle of, collecting funds. That's where we are. And hopefully by the end of the year or the beginning of the year of next year, by end of this year and the beginning of next year, we're looking forward to things to commence.
Yes, yes.
And the COVID-19 was not help at all, but it did give us some sense of responsibility and priority of what is truly important. It again, placed us all in homes where we took, charge and pulled the reins of what is truly important about family, health, each other, and all the true intended commitments that is necessary for everyday survival, and how we can come together yet again, discuss about family, religion, business, whatever that keeps us in a circle, in a whole as one, which is so important. So this is where we are, and we are truly seeking real and serious financial producers, on this project. As you know, nothing gets done by itself. It gets done by real people like us, the real ones that are not playing, but we are doing a lot of work, and COVID made me realize to tap in to the different states, see as to where would be a good place for us to run this production. It could either be here or it could be outside California, anywhere where our needs are going to be met, which is not, you know, difficult. It's simple, but there's going to it's a big project, and there's got incredible characters in there.
Yeah.
Something that everybody would love to be a part of. And then for many years as an actor, as a performer, you strive, you study, you do all these other things that keep your craft nice and good and fresh, and shining, brisk, and
right.
the most utmost what is truly important. And so I said to myself, I've done several things. This is great, but let's do something for the signs of time. Let's do something unique where everybody can be engaging in, because it's about all of us. It's not about just me or you. It's about us. And something more of a global and universal where everybody can participate. And if we are going to be starring in something, we might as well make sure that others can star with us, so they could really recognize us as we recognize them for many years as our peers. And what a better gift to do is to be able to be a part of all that. And open up, they can share about their stories, their families, their heritage, their history, and about their ancestors as well. So this is a good inviting platform where we can all relate. And going back to the stage and history of how theater of the round, which was many years ago, you from the top and you went downwards, where the stage was in a circle and everybody sat around like a circle. And here's a story right in the middle of this subject matter. No matter what seat you take, you are going to see everything clearly, and you're going to be able to relate, whether it's a friend, a family, you, or someone else. And it's going to resonate within you because it's about us. And it's about all of us, not just one or two, all of us, all cultures, all ethnicities, all of humanity. That's the way I see it, because we are a big part of history, as is everyone else's history. And it is the continuance of one and the other, just like our holy books. One is the continuance of the other. So is our history. So is our in decade, in century, and so forth and on. And that's the way the circle of life is. You cannot just take one and not the other. You're going to take all of it. Exactly. You better know about them, because it continues on happening every decade, every 50 years, or every 20 years, or every 10 years. There's always something else happening. And as you listen to the news and you listen to commentators, as we're doing now, we're going to go back in time and say, well, didn't this remind you of this? Didn't that remind you of that? And we do that every day, right?
Yeah.
And so when we know what our past is, we know where our present is, and we know how we are moving forward in the future.
Definitely. That's beautiful. Well, Silvi, we're coming to the end of our time, so I'd love for you to share how people can connect with you if they want to get involved, to contribute, or learn more about the film as it's getting ready to come out.
Thank you, Sheila. Yes, we do have a website. It's www.E8ERNITY28.com. You may also find us at Eternity. Instead of the T, there's an 8. Eternity28, LLC. You can find us on Google. And there's special websites as well. You may find us on IMDb. You may find us on SAG-AFTRA's iActor. You may find us on LinkedIn as well, under Silvi Sebastian. And I did have several of the links that I had sent you as well. We may post that when we get a chance. What else? We also have a PO box. We have an address where you can reach us. And when you go to our website, you will connect with us at the last page, which is the contact pages, as to how you'd be able to get to us. So that's another way where you can connect us. And we have a phone number. We have an attorney's number. So it's very simple, very clear. And our web page pretty much describes everything about the company, where we are, how far we've come, and so forth and on.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I will share all that information for the listeners again as well. And thank you for being a guest on the show, Silvi. I invite you back when the film is also ready to come out, and we will share again. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. God bless you. We are very grateful.
All righty.
Thank you.
Announcing a special 2-part feature interview with marketing legend Jay Abraham. Mark your calendars for the Monday after Father's Day, June 21st, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific Time, right here on NBC's Sheila Mack Show on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. We are back on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, here on the NBC Sheila Mack Show, and I have a special treat for you. I'd like to share with you the Boots formula. This is the formula I've created to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. Take a listen. Chapter 1. Overview of the Boots formula. In December of 2017, I lost my house, my car, and my cat due to a fire. It sounds like a country music song, but that was my reality, and yet another rock bottom situation after a long period of doing really well. I had just finalized a divorce, purchased a new car, and moved into a house that I bought for myself and one of my kids to live in while she went to college. I put all my savings into it, closed escrow on November 3rd, and spent some time making it beautiful, more for my kid than for myself. I was cash poor but proud to finally get into a nice home again. A month later, I had a late meeting with a client and was then called to check on an issue with a vacation rental cabin I was running up in the hills. I was frustrated with the delay, thinking, I'm so tired and I've been working so hard, I just want to go home to my new place and sleep. Later, I realized that delay was a protection, and I was grateful for the soul reroute, even if it was initially beyond my understanding. As I drove back, I saw the flames of the huge Thomas fire in Ventura that ended up burning for close to a month and spread over 280,000 acres. The hills near my house were burning. 20-foot flames leapt into the air, which was thick with choking black smoke and soot. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw the extent of the fire. As I got closer, I was told that I had to evacuate my home. I rescued my cat and got a few things together, but the power was already out, so I grabbed paperwork and pictures, anything I could shove into a box in the dark. Some of my neighbors were in denial, refusing to leave until the firefighters came through issuing mandatory evacuations. They thought it was a little fire over in the hills. They hadn't been on my drive home. They didn't know it was one of the biggest fires in California history and the largest I'd ever seen in my life. I drove back to the little prefab mobile home that I was renting out through a vacation rental service. One of the units was empty, but it wasn't finished. It had a toilet and a kitchen, but it didn't have a shower or many of the other things it needed to make it livable. It was maybe 400 square feet, and that's where I unloaded all the boxes of stuff that were now my only earthly possessions. The next day, one of my friends came over to help me, and when she opened the door, the cat I had rescued ran out the door. She was so freaked out by the move that she just bolted and never came back. We couldn't find her, even with a microchip. Shortly after that, my car was totaled in an accident, and my descent to rock bottom was complete. By this time, I was able to get back into action in record time, using a formula I had learned from all the other waves in life. The Boots formula. I've had an interesting life. It hasn't been easy, but I'm not complaining, and I'm not a victim. I've had a lot of rock bottoms, a lot of downs, but a lot of ups as well. I mean, how many 10-year-olds get to meet the president? I'll tell you that story later in the book. Through it all, I had to learn how to go from rock bottom to rock solid.
And, throughout your book, you talk a lot about your story, and kind of through the years, you've been through a lot of different hardships, personally, professionally, all sorts of things. But over time, you started realizing, like, wait a second, I've always learned how to get through this into something better. What am I doing? There's actually a system here, and you call it BOOTS. And it's kind of this formula, and just in basic terms, it stands for being, which means you're kind of deciding that that's who you are. Orientation, where it's this concept of it is what it is. It's not better or worse. It just is what it is. Your order of operations, which is kind of similar to this military formula to get results. Your thinking, which means you don't focus on survival, but opportunities. And then stepping up, which is kind of this personal responsibility and action. You've got a lot of great stories in here, not only from you, but from other women.
Have you lost your job? Have you lost a loved one? Are you exhausted caring for your parents, for your kids? Well, you can find immediate relief when you read Sheila Mack's new #1 bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps. It contains the Boots formula to move from rock bottom back into action in any situation, especially right now. So if life has knocked you down, pick yourself up with Bootstraps and Bra Straps. Get your copy at www.SheilaMack.com today.
Sheila Mack Show here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. And today I have a special gift for beautiful, authentic you. For a free Boots meditation and mini introduction to the Boots formula course, go to www.SheilaMack.com/Boots meditation. That's www.SheilaMac.com/Boots, BOOTS meditation, and enjoy your free gift, which is a free Boots meditation class, as well as a mini introduction to the Boots formula course. Enjoy. Is not one size fits all, just like a pair of boots or a bra. So the formula is designed to help you through any situation. To grab a copy of my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. It is now available on Audible, as well as on Amazon and Kindle, and at www.SheilaMack.com.
Ever since I was born, Daddy has been the best father you could ever imagine, and I just wanted to say I love him so much.
And from this time in 1991, the Montel Williams Show debuts on TV this week. The show will run 13 weeks before any national TV decision is made. Montel Williams is a former Navy intelligence officer.
This is what I'm telling you. I can't believe you did this. We told you, listen, we called him and said someone has a crush on him. We didn't do it for him. You went out and bought, no matter who this person is, you bought this person a set of diamond stud earrings. Yeah.
With
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
Sentencing hearing.
I do want to give my condolences to the Floyd family.
Chauvin was convicted in the death of George